What's going on? It's your host, Tyrus Duncan, and you guys are tuned in to another episode of the Journey Up podcast. The Journey Up is a storytelling podcast that dives deep into the personal journeys through life's darkest hours and the resilience it takes to rise again. Each episode features a guest who shares a raw, unfiltered account of one of the lowest points in their life and the trials and tribulations they faced. Listeners will hear about the challenges, breakthroughs, and the strength it took to overcome adversity. Today I have a special guest. He's a person that I've seen on social media quite often, and his brand is very powerful. And I've seen him in person too. He just has an aura about him that if he's in the room, you know he's in the room. So I'm appreciative that he's in this room right now. We're about to have a solid conversation.
Yeah.
Nicky Neptune, my brother.
Man,
how you doing?
Man. I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed.
Blessed.
Man. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Glad to have you sitting across from me right now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This is truly an honor, man. What you're doing here is impactful, man, and I love it. It's strong influence, and I love the intention behind it, man. I've been watching you as well for a long time, and I love it, man. So thank you, man.
I'm appreciative.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we have something that we do on this show every episode. I have this card game called We're Not Really Strangers.
Okay.
And I'll pull a card from here, then we'll just have a conversation on
what it is.
What it is, yeah.
Okay, that's tight.
Yeah. Do I seem more of a creative or analytical type? And explain.
About you?
Yeah.
I kind of see both. Just from watching you, I see how detailed and deep you are with what you do. So I think it play a role on both sides.
Yeah. I'd agree. I'm very creative and analytical. I try to balance them out or find harmony in both of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes we be either too creative, you forget all the analytics, or you be analytical, forget the creativity. I'd say the same about you.
Yeah, me as well.
Everything you do, I see, it seems to be very calculated.
Yeah, man.
So you probably come up with the creativity, the idea behind it, but then create the analytics to go with it as well.
That's it. I'm very intentional about everything I do, down to the T.
Yeah. So tell me a little about yourself. Who is Nicky Neptune?
Well, man, that's a book right there. Hey, Tyrus, we gonna dive in.
Let's dive in.
Well, on the outside, looking in the things that I do, I'm a recording rap artist. I started rapping maybe when I was a child. I've been doing that since I was a kid, just having fun. The past 5 years, I want to say I've taken it serious, meaning I invested in myself. I really put in energy and time and money, into growing. And, that's one side of me, as well as I went to school for accounting and marketing. So I love being able to know numbers and deal with numbers, and as well as knowing how to produce and bring out what people have as far as like advertising and promotion. So that's what got me going into Buttered Magazine. So I have a magazine company that I use what I learned, to help others as well, and to tell the story of my son, So that's one part of me. And then my fun part, what I love to do is throwing events, So I'm an event planner, coordinator, organizer. I do it all down to the T. I've done it all for the past 6 years. So I'm very well experienced in that. That's one of my main jobs, as well as I'm a promoter. I take on different clubs and different activities and put things together and, try to bring an experience to people as well. So it just all depends on where you want to go and where you want to start, because I model as well.
Yeah.
I've been in the Demeanor Model Agency for 2 years now. I walked in over 10 fashion shows with them and taught me how to pose and everything, just the whole gist of modeling. So it's been a blessing.
So in short, it sounds like you're a creative who is just a true man of the people.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you could say that. Man.
Yeah. What is it about the people that makes you want to continue creating and doing everything that you do?
Well, growing up, I just always wanted better opportunities for myself. So I saw and I felt like when I had the opportunity to be a blessing or open up doors for people, that's what I like to do. You know what I mean? It brings me a certain level of like success for what I feel and joy inside of me that I'm able to maybe make you some more money to help your life. Maybe introduce you to somebody that's gonna help you. Maybe get a resource that you need to make you happy on this day or whatever it is. You know, I just like to be a blessing to people, and so in everything that I do, I just want to be like, just that impactful person.
You said it.
I like to be.
You said it comes from your childhood. What was your childhood like?
Well, growing up it was always it was a struggle. For the most part, I wasn't the name brand guy. You know what I mean? I wasn't the go out to eat, take trips, and travel. My mom held it down. My pops did what he can do, but it wasn't easy. You know what I mean? It wasn't easy. We moved quite frequently. And I don't want to say that in too much, but I want to say like born in Michigan, then moved to Chicago when I was 3. Lived in Chicago till I was 23. Then I grew up, I moved to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Lived out there for 2 years. Went to college and then moved to Indianapolis. So I've been in Indianapolis for 14 years now.
So you've been all around the Midwest, basically.
Yeah,
living in all of it.
Lightweight, yes sir. So learning a little bit about everything and everybody, and so just growing up and seeing things on TV that I always wanted to do and couldn't do. I wanted to be able to do that for other people. You know what I'm saying? Just everything from charities to just different experiences. I love the atmosphere of people being joyful about something, and people feeling celebrated.
Yeah. It's something about that. That's my main message with my brand. Everybody's somebody.
Everybody's somebody.
It's just getting people to understand the value that they have.
Bro.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's fire.
Yeah, but I think we often get so caught up in the moment, in the day to day, and we forget the value that we have in the bigger picture.
You're right.
And I always talk about the importance of the details in the big picture.
Yeah.
And without realizing that we are all a part of a detail, or even if you look at this like a puzzle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So say you have a 500-piece puzzle, and one of those pieces is missing, so now you only got 499. Mm-hmm. You have an incomplete puzzle. Yeah. And a lot of times we don't understand the value we have to completing the 500-piece puzzle. Yeah. Like, although you may think that you just one simple piece, you're a part of a much greater scheme. Yeah. You're a part of a much greater image, a much greater picture. Right. And if you want to understand the value that you have, surround yourself with the pieces that you connect with, right? That's another piece. We don't all connect the same type of way, but we connect to something that connects to something else, that connects to something else, that makes a whole overall image. Yeah. So just getting people to understand that, to get the experience of, wow, I am a person of value and my life does matter, is huge. And you seem to create experiences for people to essentially feel like somebody. Yeah. What makes
That's
you?
Why I like your brand.
I appreciate that.
That's why I like your brand.
For sure. What makes you continue to want to create those experiences?
Well, the people, they actually are bomb. When you just think about the people, I've surrounded myself with in my team and my resources, they all deserve to be celebrated, enormously. Yeah. You know what I mean? And a lot of them don't and haven't. You know what I mean? And I love to give people their flowers. It's some very successful, creative, dope, kind-hearted people out here that's putting in work for their brands, for their businesses, and they just trying to level up and take it to the next level. So, by me having a platform and some influence, I try to use that, to help people.
For sure.
Yeah, so just them being dope excites me. Like, yeah, y'all giving me a reason to say you cold, you did this, you deserve it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's what it is.
I think that's when you truly know that you're walking in your purpose.
Correct.
You're not really trying to get something from something, but you're trying to give to it.
Right.
I was talking to somebody the other night, and I'm like, a lot of artists get lost or they get stuck when they're focused on what they can get rather than what they can give.
Yeah.
Because when you focus on what you can give, you never run out of anything.
You're right.
Versus if you focus on what you can get, that may run dry eventually. So I'm like, what can you give to make sure that it's worth it?
Yeah, that's crazy you say that, because I was thinking about that the other day. I said, if this was all about money, then, you know.
And I don't think people understand that. Yeah.
It would be that. You know,
especially people who don't have money. If you have money.
And people think I'm rich. You know what I'm saying? Say, hey, he doing this, he doing that, he's there, he's dressed this way, he's driving. It's like, but no, it's not. It's like, I do this out the kindness of my heart.
Love.
It's a passion.
Yeah.
It's a real passion.
And you and I both know that the true currency is relationships.
It is.
Relationships will get you into rooms that money can't.
You're right.
And a lot of people have money, but they can't even get these rooms because they don't have the relationship.
They don't know. So it's, you know, it can be about what we say, what you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But to get in some of them doors, it's about
all about
who you know.
Yeah.
And then you bring in what
you know. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
To add to it.
That's
so it's
what
like
you do.
It's like the simple thought of you want to be successful, learn how to build strong relationships.
You know, that's key.
That's the key.
That's key.
Yeah.
Collaboration and unity. I've been preaching that and bringing different events for years, you know, and now I'm seeing a lot of it starting to pick up in Indianapolis. Slowly but surely, a lot of people are starting to work with different people and collaborate in different ways, and I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a blessing.
So you've been around a little bit longer than me.
Yeah.
Can you explain the difference in the last 10 years of Indianapolis just growing as a creative hub?
Well, to start off, I was in the background for, you know, the beginning part, you know, of living in Indianapolis. I was, you know, raising my family, real close knit to the family, making music only for me, you know, going out very so often, meeting people. I just worked. I was strictly to the book, you know, learning, going to school, finishing up things. Just trying to develop my life. So in Indianapolis, those first years is kind of dope because of those people that I met then. You know what I mean? Played a big role, you know, and helped now because I knew them then when I was before the Nicky Neptune came into play as a brand, as an artist. You know what I mean? So they got a chance to know me. You know what I mean? Outside of that, so. Then growing and, you know, going from being a teacher to saying I'm done, I'm not teaching anymore, and saying I'm about to chase my dreams of being an entrepreneur, an artist, and doing the things that I really wanted to do that make me happy, and trying to build a residual income from those things. So the past 6 years, I've got the chance to actually develop, learn a lot, grow, and meet a lot of people. And in those years, I've done nothing but good business. I've worked with hundreds of people, and my brand is valid. So I have to stand behind that in all ways. You know what I mean? And so seeing the culture grow from then to now, being outside, going to the clubs, chilling out, watching, not having no friends to go with, to being the person that's throwing the events in the clubs, seeing how people engage and how different events grow and different people have their different vibes. I love it in Indianapolis. I feel like it's a great place to grow your family and to grow who you are and be established and stay here and then go everywhere else. This is a great place to just stay stationary. And if you get your stationary good here, go do everything else everywhere you need. But this is a good place to be. It's definitely growing. They putting money into Indianapolis. More and more big celebrities are starting to come within the past year. You know, I heard Beyonce coming. Lil Wayne was here last week.
Yeah.
It's very crazy because when the last time we seen Lil Wayne or Beyonce here? You know what I mean? And so, you know, I feel like within the next couple 10 years, a lot of things going to change and we're going to grow and become more of an impactful city because we have a lot of talent, a lot of hidden gems, and a lot of great businesses in Indianapolis.
For sure.
Yeah,
I think there's definitely a hub for growth.
Yeah.
And just within my past 5 years in the trying to be outside, trying to learn the entrepreneurial spirit, just trying to learn the community, it's already changed so much.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you have a great idea, it's a perfect time to plant the seed and watch it grow.
Yeah.
And the thing about planting seeds, right, I always think of what we do as seeds, right? So the thing about planting the seeds, you don't see the growth immediately.
No.
And that's when a lot of people want to give up. But understanding, like you said, some of the people that you met 10 plus years ago, whatever, that you just built the relationships with can see you now.
Yes.
They saw the seed from what it was, and they saw it grow after it was watered and cared for and nurtured throughout the years. So it's like now, if you have the idea, if you have a seed that you need to plant, it's the perfect time to plant it.
It is.
Because who knows what happens in the next 5 to 10 to 20 years.
Right.
And if you want to see some growth, why not start today?
You're right. That's what I always say. I say, you know, anything that you start, give it 4 years and you're going to be happy about it if you stay consistent in those 4 years.
Yeah.
It's almost like school. You plant the seed, you let it grow, and you keep watering it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Until it flourish. And that's it. Through the pandemic is when a lot of people planted those seeds. You know what I'm saying? The creative part came out.
Yeah.
It was like, what to do? Well, I'm going to just do this.
Yeah.
And then everything kind of grew and flourished a lot in the culture. When the pandemic hit, it grew the culture really well. You know what I mean? It pushed everybody to be somebody.
Yeah. I see how I came around like that.
That was tight.
That was good. That was good.
That's crazy.
And that adds
that was
to,
organic.
That was organic. It was nice though. It adds to it though, because people try to find their value or their somebodyness outside of themselves when the whole time it's right there.
Right.
So it's like, just look within yourself, and that somebodyness, the somebody that you're searching for, the somebody that you think that you need the validation from is you. So it's like the my in the self. You have to give yourself, you know, the detachment from the spirit and the body, right? So it's like the body's looking from some type of validation from something, but it can get it from the spirit. So be in line with yourself. And then you give you the validation. It's like, oh, I am somebody. Oh, I am worth it. I am valuable. I do add value to this world. And that's that watering of the seed that we have.
I was speaking to my mother this morning because I had a show last night, and she was like, you know, I know you did good. You know, I'm like, yeah, you know. She asked me about who came, and then she was like, don't worry about who didn't come. You know, the people who came, you know, be worried about them.
Yeah.
You know, focus on them. Focus on those puzzle pieces that's already connected to you. You know, see, you know that you did good, and that's your validation to knowing that, you know, and the people that's there, they showed up for you, appreciate them. Yeah. Don't even trip about who wasn't there, because they wasn't there.
Yeah.
You know?
And one thing I always say is don't neglect the 99 for the one.
Yep. Don't neglect the 99 for the one.
Because you do got people that's there. and also, if you can't find the one, to be the one. Yeah. Right? So it's like everything that we do is for somebody. Yeah. And if you can't do it for yourself first, you need to go and rethink on what you're doing anyways.
Yeah, because who you doing?
They say don't be your biggest fan or whatever. It's like, you can be your biggest fan, just don't be your only fan. And if you start off as your only fan, you'll see the growth eventually. Yeah. I love what I do. Yeah. Like, I would go on my page and just like, man, that was some good stuff right there.
It is, right? Yeah.
I look at something that I created and I'm like, man, you actually did this. Yeah. So you should love the stuff that you do. You should.
Celebrate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
And do not neglect the people who are showing up now.
Yeah.
You can't do that, because if you do, you'll never get the people that you quote unquote want to show up.
Yeah.
And the people who are there in the beginning, most of the time, the most genuine ones anyways.
Yeah.
Because they see you for you, and they see you for who you can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real right there, man. That's real. That hit home.
Yeah. I like the way that you think. Very community oriented, outside of self, focused on the people. And that's important because people do go through a lot of hard times in life. Yeah. And without community, without stories, without seeing other people exist, it might be the end of us.
Right.
Because our minds are a scary place.
You're right.
And some say that it's a very dark place. and life takes us through a lot of different experiences that may make us want to give up. Yeah, man. It may make us want to say, you know what, this is it. I cannot make it through. But as we continue to share stories, we continue to learn that it's not just us. Yeah. And, you know, the purpose of this show is for people to take me to the lowest moment that they've ever experienced. Yeah. And tell me how they overcame it. So now I'm asking you, take me to the lowest moment you ever experienced.
Got a lot of those, man. It just depends on what avenue, you know. I'm going through something right now that I can say is the most, you know, painful experience that I never saw coming in my life, you know. The death of my son. He died March 26th. Yeah, man, he died March 26th, and it was like very unexpected. We didn't see it coming. When he got sick, they said he was only gonna live, you know, for 3 more months, but he ended up living for a year. A year and 1 month. His birthday is March 8th, which is in 7 days, you know. So right now, real tough for me. A lot of the most painful memories is coming back right now, and a lot of those, you know, things, they really, you know, bring that emotion out of me. That was my son. That was Junior. You know, so it was a different type of bond. I was a daddy and a father. I was there every day. You know, he was there with me. You know, I took care. I provided. I made sure he got dressed. I bathed him. I took him to school. I picked him up. I fed him. I was there. It was one of those things that, you know, we didn't see coming. You know, he was a perfect child. He was a boy's boy. He loved nature. He loved playing games. He loved learning. He loved eating. He didn't care to be watching TV or playing on phones. He liked it to play with his toys. He wanted to be outside in the dirt catching. One time he caught like 100 frogs. I'm not lying. Am I lying? I'm not lying. I swear, that boy was cold. You know, he was 7. He lived to be 7 years old. He got sick when he was 6, and he lived to be 7. And this year is going to be his 8th birthday, you know. So the disease that he was diagnosed with was called adrenoleukodystrophy. Crazy. No, you probably ain't never heard of it.
Never heard of that.
100 out of 100 people that I've asked have never heard of it either. It's insane. 1 out of 60,000 kids get it. So, yeah, my son got it. You know, it's one of those things that's genetic disease, brain disease. Yeah. It's carried down from, you know, family member to family member, and it misses and hits. It goes from girl to boy, girl to boy, girl to boy. You know, the boy can't pass it to the boy. It breaks down. It starts to break down because it's a brain thing. First he lost his eyesight. Then he lost his hearing. Then he lost his ability to feed himself. Then he lost his ability to walk. And I want to say that each one of those things was every 3 months. So the first 3 months, it was he couldn't see. Then the next 3 months, it was he couldn't hear. Then the next 3 months, he couldn't eat. We had to get a G tube for him. And then the last 3 months, he couldn't walk. I had to carry him, pick him up everywhere, do everything. And it was just one of those things, man. I had a strong support system behind me. I created a GoFundMe to raise $20,000 to possibly, get certain surgeries and things to be done. We raised, I believe, $14,000 out of that. I had his mother. She lived in home, and she took care of him the entire time, while I still was able to be Nicky Neptune and support and provide and do what I needed to do. She made sure that he was getting fed and he was getting bathed and he was getting taken care of. And in that moment of when he got sick, it got real hard for me, almost to the point that I couldn't operate and I would break down. And so by her being there, it was a strong force beside me to help me get through that. She's my best friend. We prayed together. We traveled 3 different states to try to figure, taking them different doctors to try to figure it out. It was
That has to be
painful.
A painful experience for sure.
It was painful. It still is.
to have a healthy son for 6 years,
like beautifully healthy,
and then out of nowhere,
smart, super smart. Think he almost a genius because he just was like that. He was like that. He was tight, man. Deuce. His name. He was junior, so I called him Deuce. For the most part, a lot of people say that I was strong. I handled it well. They said that I should stop working. I should take off. I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I'm working too hard, or whatever. But for what it's worth, I love doing what I do. That's why I do it. It wasn't for the money. It was because I needed something that was gonna fuel me, that was gonna keep me going, keep me happy. And this right here was a part of it. Being able to, the idea of to be able to have an index for all my people, to find people that they can work with, collaborate with, and grow with, and then be able to tell my son's story in each magazine is my absolute top goal for this. You know what I'm saying? So the impact on that created a bigger impact for my life. You know what I mean? Purpose and destiny. When you're trying to figure out who you are and what you want to be, that right there is something that I've always wanted to do but never got a chance to do. We grew up watching XXL, Jet magazines, Ebony's, all of that. And I always wanted to be in a magazine and do that type of thing. That's a dream come true. He pushed me to get that done, you know what I'm saying, with the assistance of so many others. Kalisha Nance, partnered with me, and getting a lot of it done, you know what I mean. Couldn't have done it without her. But the whole journey of it built me in a different way. It's not one day I don't cry. It's not one morning I'm not up before every single body in my feelings, trying to just push through the pain. I want to say 2 weeks ago, I went into depression. I had to go to the doctor. A lot in my brain, and I didn't ever want to feel like I was going to ever get there. But I got sick. It was like this little sickness that was going around for everybody. And for some reason, I got sick. I usually don't get sick because I take good care of myself.
There was some sickness going around. Yeah, it got me too. I was like, what is going on?
Ate me up, set me down for like 2 days. And in those 2 days, I felt like that's when I developed 2-3 days, that's when I developed like getting depressed because
And that would do it. Just the not to be able to move in your purpose and do something, get up and be active. That's a quick way.
I was sleeping and thinking.
That's a
'Cause
quick
I
way
wasn't
to.
watching TV because of my headache. I had bad headaches and eyes. I wasn't watching TV. I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't doing nothing but sleeping and thinking. I wasn't eating, and so I felt like after that, it became, like a lot of it hit me.
Yeah.
A lot of it hit me, and a lot of regret. Like, should have been there more. I should have been here. I wish I'd have took more videos. I wish I'd have took more pictures. Got mad at people. Like, why they wasn't there for me? Why wasn't you, and I questioned a lot, you know what I'm saying? So it was hard for me to, to really function and sleep. And when I knew I had to go to the doctor because I didn't sleep for 4 days, literally, it was like some cat naps. And I'm just up, and I'm like, I'm tired, and I'm still doing everything. You would never know outside looking in.
Yeah.
I'm going.
A lot of people get to that point. I think they call it functional depression, to where you're still able to, be up in front of the people, smiling.
Yeah.
Talks about your purpose, pushing the mission, pushing the brands, but on the inside, it feels like you're drowning. And you get home and you can't sleep. And you just sit there and your thoughts continue to take over, and you start feeling things that you don't even have words for.
Yeah, man. That's exactly what happened. The thoughts got the best of me. They, prescribed me to some therapy, people to contact, and, some medicine. I ain't take nothing. I ain't called nobody. But just going and seeking and trying to figure it out was good enough for me.
Yeah.
And then being able to just get active again, prayer, and get around people that I know love me. I self-medicate very well. I don't blame myself too much. Mm-hmm. And when I do, I still love myself enough to remember what it is that I've done, and what makes me happy, and that people love me.
Yeah.
So even when I felt like crashing out, getting into it with people, calling people out, maybe making statuses, maybe not talking to people, I decompressed and just, woosah, and just, let it be. And then when that emotion go away, I rethink about the situation, and then it ain't the same feeling no more. I let it go, and for what it's worth, this losing, I wouldn't wish this on nobody, losing a son, or losing your child, and especially one that you like taking care of.
Yeah.
And it's been that you never knew they were sick and something like this could happen, and you have no control over it. The blessing in it is that he gave us 1 more year and 1 month of his life, and so many people came and supported me. My mother, she showed up every single day. My mother never came to my house before, but when my son got sick, she came to my house every single day, sat with him, would massage his body, would bathe him, would read him books, would play with him, and with, babysitting, just be there. And I appreciate her so much for that. My father would travel down from Chicago. My family had come down from Chicago and see. I had a nice support system here, with my nephew, Big Keith. He would come through and sit with him and play with him and do all type of stuff, you know what I mean? And I'm really grateful of the key people who was there and showed up, I might not name everybody, but they know who they are.
They know.
And they know that I love them and I appreciate them. And anybody that's going through this pain, you have to face it. You don't want to run from it and be soaked in it and feel like it's you and place the blame on you. Seek help and talk to people and open up. Do things that make you happy and be around positive people that make you happy. and you know, just continue. You know, every day is gonna be hard. I just figured it out. I figured it out, Cyrus. I figured it out. Life is gonna be hard no matter what. It's gonna always be something that you have to learn, get through, experience, and build from. And if you don't learn from it, you're gonna have to experience it again and go through it again and learn it. So the best bet is to understand that it's gonna always the journey. Learn to love the journey and get through it. And when things come, knock it out the park, figure it out, get back on your feet, you know, take a deep breath, love yourself, and go at it again.
Yeah, and an excuse that people often use, I don't even want to call it an excuse, but something that always comes to mind when we go through challenges is the fact that it's hard.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it is hard.
Definitely.
But
you never knew.
You're strong.
Yep.
Right? So it's like when things are hard, we can't neglect the strength that we already have. And we can't neglect the strength that gets gained through the challenges. It's like when something gets hard, you face it. You can't run from it, because if you run from it, it's still there.
Still there.
And I like to think of things like a game or something like that. So like if you're playing a game and you want to get to the next level, you have to face the enemy at the end.
Yeah, you got to play them levels.
It don't matter how hard it is. It don't matter how many times you fail. If you want to get to that next level, eventually you have to defeat the enemy.
You have to.
And so many times we want to run away from the enemy.
Man, I love that.
It's like, don't run away from the enemy.
Yeah, man.
Fight.
Yeah.
And eventually you will defeat the enemy.
You will.
You can't run away from the thing that's in front of you. Because life is about leveling up. Like you said, it's the journey, right?
Yeah, man.
If I was to name life a game, create a name for life as if it was a game, I would just call it the journey. Because there are different levels to this journey.
Yeah.
And if you want to get to the next level, you have to defeat the enemy.
Yeah, you do, man.
And you are strong enough. Like I said, we often want to use or get caught in the mindset of, oh man, this is hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay.
We built for it.
Yeah, we built for it.
God won't put us into nothing that we can't get through.
Yeah.
You know, it's always a way to overcome. Sometimes, you know, the traditional ways, life has changed, you know, and you know, one of those things that it takes a community to raise children. We don't implement today a lot of times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's still there.
It's still there.
And not just children, but us.
Each other.
Sometimes it takes a community for us to grow and build and be better. And if we all collaborate and unify, it's easier to get to that next level. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you won't have to wear all of those jackets
you don't have to
and
do
jerseys and everything.
Yeah, just like let's create another image, right? So we all live somewhere. We all have houses or cars or whatever. So if I'm thinking about my house, I know it took a whole team of people to be able to build my house in a good time. Now somebody could have did it themselves, right? Years and years and years and years ago, people used to have to build a lot of stuff by themselves with no team. And now we have streamlined that whole process to where someone could build a house in 2 months rather than building it in a year and a half, because you have a whole team of people who are able, and they're not all doing the same thing, right? You got some who come lay the foundation, and then you got some who come build the structure after laying the foundation. You got some who come put the walls on the inside, they put the walls on the outside.
Some do the roof.
Some do the roof. Some do electricity. So it's like everyone doesn't have to be great at everything. Yeah. But if you have a mission, you have a goal, you find the people who are great at certain things, and you bring them together so you can make sure you can get the job done as fast and as efficiently as possible.
Man,
you don't have to do things alone.
I love how you put that. I think I'm gonna use that in my next meetings.
Please do.
Because even with my butter team, you know what I mean? Everybody is somebody, and they all play a different, impactful role in what we built this house. In this house, you know, it's somebody that's building the roof. It's somebody that's doing the electricity.
Right.
Foundation.
I mean, you could even simplify it even more. It's like LeBron James wanted to win championships, right? He was in Cleveland for all these years. He couldn't win no championship because he ain't have the right team around him. So he said, you know what? Y'all not winning me no championships. Yeah. And I often wonder, I'm like, did LeBron James look at himself as a loser? Or did he look at himself as a winner in the wrong place?
Yeah.
So two different mindsets.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he looked at himself as a winner because he said, regardless of what y'all doing over here, I'm about to go over here. I'm about to win.
I'm about to win.
I'm about to get around a team of people who are committed and dedicated to getting the championship.
What they say? You gotta leave where you live at. And it's something about leaving home, and they show you more love from where you not at. You know what I'm saying? I felt like he's from Ohio, but when he went to Miami, he definitely grew bigger. It got bigger, and he showed. They said that was his best career highlights was damn years in Miami.
Yeah.
He showed you.
He did the hero's journey, because even then he still came back home and brought his people a championship.
It did.
Because sometimes, sometimes you gotta you can work where you at, right?
Yep.
Sometimes you gotta leave where you at, so you can get what you need, and then you come back home and you get them what they need, right? So it's like you learn about yourself. You get around the people who are committed to winning championships, and to that point, it's like LeBron James could do a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people claim for him to be the greatest player ever.
Yeah.
He couldn't win no championship by himself those first 6, 7, however many years he was in Cleveland. Yeah. But the moment he got around some other brothers who was talented at some other things that he wasn't as great at, or he just needed them in general, he's able to win the championship.
He did.
So it's like you understand the value that you have, and then you place yourself around other people who understand your value but want to add to it as well. And they will help you win championships.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to win championships? You just want to play.
Exactly.
Let's win some championships, because it's possible.
We need them.
But surround yourself by the team. You gotta get you some shooters.
Yeah.
You gotta get some people who can dribble the ball. You gotta get you a coach who knows how to.
Defense.
You gotta get it all.
Yeah.
You gotta get somebody to do the dirty work for you.
You
need all of it. You need all of it.
Yeah, man.
But it's possible, and
like
we shouldn't have to do it alone. Matter of fact, we can't do it alone. It's impossible.
You can't.
And there's a biblical scripture in Ephesians or Ecclesiastes I always like to bring up, where he talks about two being stronger than one. Because if one falls and they're by themselves, who is there to pick them up? But if one falls and they have somebody else with them, they can help them up. Or there's another one that said, if one lays alone at night, who's there to keep them warm? But if they have somebody there with them, they're able to keep themselves warm together. Yeah. And then I always say the first thing that God said was not good for was for a man to be alone. Yeah. He went and named and listed off all these things. He said, I saw the light and it was good. I saw the waters and it was good. I created the vegetations, all this stuff, and it was good. And then he got to man and saw the man was alone. He said, this ain't good.
This ain't good.
and we'll isolate ourselves now, right?
Yeah.
Because we'll get in these positions and we'll underestimate the value that we bring to each other. Yeah. And we'll be like, well, I'm not good for nobody. Yeah. And we'll put ourselves in these situations of loneliness. Yeah. And the devil operates in solitude, in total solitude. I'm not saying you can't go away, because it's going to go away too. Yeah. So if you have purpose of why you're going away, but you just shutting and cutting people off just because, good luck. Yeah. We need each other. Yeah. We need unity in the community. Definitely. If we really want to see some type of real change. If we want to win championships, you got to have a strong team.
You have to. And I like how you put that, man. That's tight, man. You a deep brother, man. You a deep. Hey, like we said in the beginning, that first question, very analytical, but yet still creative. You know what I mean? Open mind. Open. Very woke, man. That's
the goal. If you want to change people, you have to get into their minds. Yeah. We could direct and push people as much as possible to different places, but until you get them to believe something, until you get them to eventually know something to be real or true, you won't really have a good chance of getting them to commit to something. Yeah. So my goal as a leader is to get into the minds of the people, to get them some confidence, because confidence is the first step of success. Yeah. If you want to win, you got to be confident. You can't even shoot if you don't have the confidence. Right. You can't walk in these rooms and talk and be yourself if you ain't got the confidence. But if you accept, it ain't gonna work. And people can tell. And sometimes you do got to come in there and I won't say fake it till you make it, but believe it till you achieve it.
Yeah, right. That's the idea. You know, being an artist, a model and host, doing all these different things. I'm in front of a lot of crowds, and a lot of times, you know, I'm intimidated, nervous. scared a little bit because it's different people. It might not be my crowd, my event. I got hired in, and you just want to be the best. You want to deliver upon, getting paid to do this, right? And I've learned that the confidence of just being yourself and just, knowing you got it takes you way further.
Way further, yeah.
I had a show last night, and I was overthinking it all the way up until I started, because I just wanted it to be perfect. I wanted to deliver a very entertaining, informational story about myself and give them, because it's an intimate experience to remember. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I got to make sure this right. I got to know every word. I'm rapping all my songs for the past 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, fully committed and dedicated to doing that. But it was giving me anxiety too. Like, man, I got to make sure I do it. But the confidence, knowing that I was going to do it, is what got me through it. You know what I'm saying? And once I started, confidence is on 10. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you can talk yourself out of it, self-sabotage, right?
Yeah.
But you got to have that mindset too, though, to know, like, that self-sabotage defense that you putting up against yourself, put up that offense too.
Yeah.
Like, I can do this. I'm him.
Just like
I'm
you
her.
can talk yourself out of it, you can talk yourself
Back
into it.
Watch I do it. I can do it. I believe in myself. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. You know what I'm saying?
And even to your point, you said I want to get something people are going to remember.
Yeah.
They was going to remember something regardless.
Yeah.
They either going to remember, man, that was all right.
Yeah.
He ain't seem too confident like he wanted to be there. Or they's going to remember, man, he really came in here. He actually made us feel something.
Yeah.
Because what is a brand but about how you make somebody feel once they experience your value?
You're right. You're right.
Right? So it's like, how do you make people experience your value? That's the brand.
That's the brand.
That's everything.
The feeling.
Yeah.
That's the feeling. That's how you get people to relate, buy into your brand, buy the emotion. That's what I try to do, and try to, teach people, leverage of that connection and using that to bring the right people into you. Just trying to sell and say, I got this, I got that, I got this. What's the emotion behind that? Where's the connection? And so that's dope that you said that.
Yeah,
man.
What's next for Nicky Neptune? What can the people expect from you?
Consistency. That's what you gonna always get from me, for sure. Right now, I have a lot of things on my plate. You know what I mean? I juggle a lot of things, but I've built a great team, a strong support system that helps me funnel a lot of these things and get through a lot of these things. Shout out to Andrew Hunt. You know what I'm saying? He run Numbers Media and Andrew Propaganda. He's been doing all my media and production for the past 2-3 months, helping manage that endeavor. You know what I mean? Matlock Production is doing a lot of my video production. London Rose is doing a lot of my booking, managing. Kalisha Nance is doing a lot of my modeling, managing, building my portfolio so I can be in other magazines. I just started a new business with my friends, Andrew and Matlock, called Filmistry. And it's a whole idea of trying to build the actress and actor community, the whole film community, and building more creating movies, skits, reenactments, things for people to consistently show that talent, that creative talent of who they are. So that's been like my happiness right now, because we're starting a show called Rhythm and Flow. It's not Rhythm and Flow. It's the idea of Rhythm and Flow. It's 20 versus 1, the panel. It's 20 versus the panel. We have a panel of people that's going to, go through the whole element of rhythm and flow, and we got 20 sponsors that's delivering, great prizes and things for the person that gets to the end of the show, basically. Just a full production, full of exposure, trying to bring more exposure and look in a positive way through competition, but yet everybody that's involved still has a big opportunity to be seen, heard, and get something out of it. You know what I mean? So musically, I'm gonna be dropping a couple projects, modeling. I have built the whole project with demeanor models. Every month we have a different idea. We gonna drop in the model world as far as like photo shoots go. Project wise, Buttered Magazine is projected to have 3 magazines dropped this year, so we staying very busy. And yeah, man, it just hands just in a lot of stuff, Tyrus. Just trying to build and stay consistent. So I try to be intentional with a lot of things we do. So I map out my plans accordingly, months and months in advance, and we go through the elements to get everything done and knocked off. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Congratulations on being a doer. We got a lot of thinkers, right?
Right.
Not enough doers.
Yeah. Action.
And to be somebody who is out inspiring the community, not only thinking about themselves.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Not only thinking about themselves, but thinking about the people that are around them. Yeah. You named a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you're giving others opportunity to work in their purpose, such as they're giving you an opportunity to work in your purpose. Yeah. And that's an underrated position to be in.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you for being you, for inspiring me. Man. Not just me, but I'm sure a lot of people look at you and say, wow, this brother's out here doing it. Yeah, man. And I can do it too.
Absolutely. And that's it. You can do it too. It's, I'm not from here, but you would think I'm from here, based on my drive. Mm-hmm. I've met everybody within these past couple years that I work with or that I'm best and close friends with. I've just built those great relationships, and I just love to help and see people flourish. I'm working with this guy from Kentucky named Antonio Edwards, one of the best photographers I've ever worked with. The eye and the vision behind him and his heart behind it. I love people who have a strong passion that builds off of passion, because that is what's going to keep us there. If you don't have, the discipline, because every day you ain't going to be motivated to do it. But if you got that passion and that discipline to keep going, we going to work. We going to take it to the next level. You know what I mean? And I see that in a lot of different people I work with. Also, we got a restaurant.
Really?
Let me plug the restaurant.
Plug the restaurant.
Got Soul and Jerk Junkies on Rucker Road. We got some of the best soul food, Creole food, Jamaican food you've ever had. They are food lovers. They love to cook, and they putting their foot in these meals. You know what I mean? I mean, some really good food, bro. Brother, you got to come down. I'm going to
have to come check it out for sure.
It's some real good food. A lot of our meats is jerk, but a lot of our food is not all spicy. So, you get the best of both worlds, but it's like Thanksgiving every single day.
You got me at that right there.
Trap got soul, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's a family business. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my family, L, Sherry, CC. I love y'all. OG Tone Low. You already know.
That was fire. I appreciate you coming to sit down with me, share your story, man. Share your experience. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you, man.
It is not taken lightly to see somebody who is, like I said earlier, just inspiring the community and living in their purpose. Yeah. And I appreciate you for being somebody and knowing that you're somebody.
Thank you.
And getting others to understand the somebodiness of themselves as well.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Tyrus. I appreciate this opportunity. I never got a chance to tell my son's story, you know what I'm saying, in this way. So I'm very grateful, you know what I mean. I planned on doing this in death, but to be able to do this right now. You caught me off guard, you know what I mean? But I loved it because I didn't know what to expect. But I felt I could have talked about other things, but that's that way heavy on my heart. And for this to kind of happen right now, I knew it had to be God. Because, I needed this therapy. I needed to just talk about it. I needed to just be expressive and, let people know how much I love my son and how, you know, even how hard it was, that you can persevere, you can get through. You know, it's always another day, and don't give up, and you know, don't crash out. People love you. You here for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And find that peace and that love in yourself. Love yourself. You know, everything gonna happen. Life don't come with a manual. You don't know what's gonna come next, but you deserve life and to be strong, and you know what I mean? And the people around you deserve to have you.
Yeah.
You know, and I appreciate you giving me the avenue to be able to tell my son's story. You know what I'm saying? Jermaine Moore, Jr., Deuce, I love you. You know what I'm saying? Long live Deuce forever. Green and blue hearts forever. Yeah.
I appreciate you, brother. I hope there was some healing for you.
Yeah, man, definitely.
It was inspiring for me, for sure.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Journey Up podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll see you next time. Peace.
The journey.